Well, and as the complexity of the game goes crazier and crazier, more and more spiders show up. So it's like
Gross.
it's the stuff of nightmares later.
You can
Just
see
like
why
the
I
show.
wouldn't have played that game. You're like, do you ever play the 80s video game Tron? And I'm like, I was 5, so no.
Thanks. I'm 7.
Exactly.
Hello.
I never do this, backpack community. I keep forgetting, but Sharon Paul, a previous guest, if you need any toys of an adult nature, she provided a discount, and I felt like I should mention it at least one time.
Go to
So,
thenastymerican.com. Get backpack code for 10%
Thanks,
off
Sharon.
your adult toys. No lie. So from that, we're going to switch to, we have really cool yogic learnings today. 5,000 years of yogic learnings.
Yes, exactly.
We have systems and formulas and things. There's so much Todd Denen's going to bring. We can't pack it into an episode. That's crazy to imagine.
Well, we do have one episode just for him, so we're going to try.
Yeah, he's our solo guest. Now, remember, this is like Fight Club. If you are here for the first time, you have to fight. I mean, sorry, you have to leave and say hello. Otherwise, we don't know you're here. Hi, Coach.
Woodard.
So, always good to see everybody showing up. There's Kate, bright and bushy. No meeting today. I think tomorrow's our early meeting.
This will be a fun conversation. We were having some fun green room conversations about karma, so we'll have to bring those back for y'all.
That is going to be great. Sorry, I was just looking at something I'd never seen on my screen before. It's got a new little Wi-Fi indicator.
Leslie.
Hey, Leslie, we were just talking about you in video games. But your really cool cocktail game platform.
Welcome to the Backpack Show, where we revisit relationships from the 6th grade and also bring you business insights from unusual places.
Hi, everyone. Tim Kitzrow from NBA Jam and NFL Blitz, welcoming you to The Backpack Show. Your hosts, Chris Brogan, Kerry Gorgone, Boom Shakalaka.
Backpack Show.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi, Chloe.
Chloe. And my mom's here representing Vegas.
Oh, your biological mother?
That's my dad's wife right there. There's Elizabeth down in Texas, hopefully getting warmer as the days go on.
Yeah, that's been a touch and go there. It's a little scary. So Todd is here. He's a 4th degree yogi, which I didn't even know that they had degrees. No idea.
Me neither.
An entrepreneur and the creator of the R5 formula. So we're going to learn and how that helps you shortcut your way to success.
Maybe Todd can also teach us how to fix a broken shoulder. Kate, I'm so sorry to hear it.
Oh, no.
It might have been in her karate class. It could have been in her gorilla juggling class. There's a lot of things Kate Colgan does.
You just got to stop busting down doors, Kate, is what it is.
She's emulating cop shows now, all on her own. Hey, there's my dad. It's always good. He was one of our active viewers on Twitch the other day. It was
I thought
great.
you meant Naz was your dad. I was like, whoa, plot twist.
Yeah. Naz is my other dad. Let's grab Todd Denen. We've got so many questions. We got to learn all about this R5 formula. We have so many things to learn. Hey, Todd, how are you today?
Good. Thanks for having me on. Hey, Chris and Kerry.
The only thing better than succeeding is succeeding faster than planned. So how does that work?
Is that a quote? Is that a Todd Denen quote?
Mm-hmm. Well, you're supposed to be able to shortcut the normal success process.
I see.
Yeah. So basically, things kind of started. I guess we can just rewind all the way back to when I was born. So I was adopted when I was born, and so it's always funny when you say, your birth parents. So it makes me. I'm like, are you adopted? Is it your real birth parents? And so within 60 days, I had spinal meningitis, and the doctor said I was going to die. And then my brother John died of birth, and my new mother Joanne drowned when I was 3. And so it just kind of gives you a different perspective on life when you're growing up, on kind of the big picture. What are the questions? What's the purpose of life? And so I started and my parents, my dad who raised me, Richard, he was awesome. And he just kind of gave me the freedom to test out my own spiritual beliefs. And so I got to a point early in college where I just kind of hit the wall, where I just was like, this stuff isn't making sense anymore. What I'm learning isn't fulfilling me. And I just remember praying to God going, why can't I just die? Why can't I just go to heaven now? Why do I have to live another 60 years and go through all this crap of life? And that's when I accidentally met these yogis, these advanced saints. Now, we like to categorize and define things. So we're Christian and Muslim and Hindu and Buddha. And so when I say yogi, technically a yogi is anyone that is looking to improve themselves spiritually. That's basically the definition of a yogi. But we kind of compartmentalize them and stick them over into Hinduism. But I'm still consider myself Christian and a yogi because I'm always in seek of improvement. And
Well, so am I, but my parents dragged me to catechism when I was, 6. So, I feel like we all have to find our own path.
And so that gets us to one of the biggest discoveries I made is there's 7 levels of human development.
No, wait a minute. You're in college, like, man, college is weird. I don't think I get it. Oh, hey, look, 7 levels. There's something in between those 2 bits. Like, was that in a book or was that in a sandwich bag? Like, how'd you get there?
It's so the book that kind of helped me out, Autobiography of a Yogi. So that kind of opened the door to all this stuff. And that's the book that Steve Jobs read as a teenager and then goes off to India and comes back, creates Apple. And it's the only book he had on his iPad. But what Steve Jobs and what a lot of us get lost in is kind of the noise at the lower levels of human development. Religions are kind of like sports teams. It's, I love this one player in this sports team.
Team Jesus.
And we're going to defeat everyone else. Everyone else is kind of the adversary. And what I try to do is say, hey, religions are more like food. You know what? Today I want some Italian. Tomorrow I want some Mexican and Chinese. You can sample from the whole buffet. And why not make it a collection instead of an individual sports team, a competition, a division of it? And so real quick on the lady that had the injury on the shoulder, one of my books I have for everyone is The Secret Cure, and that talks about the healing process. And so right now in America and most places, we heal from the bottom up. We work on the symptom and then move towards the cure. And where these yogis go top down, it's we go from linear healing to exponential healing. And they look at the spiritual side and then show you how that funnels down. Your levels of development funnel down to your pain, your illnesses, everything we experience.
Wow. So you just sort of cherry pick from different religions? Is that the idea? And build a philosophy that works for you?
So if you take every religion and you just remove their teacher, you basically have the same universal rules. So the first step in the R5 formula is rules. And there's universal rules. Don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat, don't kill someone, be good to other people. So you take these teachers out, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, remove them all. You've got the same set of rules. Everyone's following the same rules. But then again, we divide them. We want to say, you know what? Our religion or our teachings are better than yours, even though we're all following the same damn rules.
So is that kind of the basis for your books and your approach to success in general, is like creating your own set of rules?
You're not creating the rules are there. It's just how you apply them, how you understand them. So we all are following these same rules basically, and they're teaching us. So the purpose of life, or let's go back to the 7 levels. So right now, you guys understand the 7 levels. Most people understand the 7 levels. You have a great, I
don't, Todd.
Okay.
All right, whip us through those 7 levels so we all can get up on them.
I don't.
You do. They just need to be clarified. So level 1, we have the atheist, the person that just doesn't believe in God. They're like the first grader. They're just getting started in their education and their learning. Level 2, you have the believer. Person believes in God, but doesn't find enough value to include this God or higher power, whatever you want to call it in your life. Level 3, and that's kind of where most of humanity is right now, according to these yogis, is we find religion. Now we're getting there. We find a God and a mentor, a teacher, and we gravitate towards that religion. Level 4 is kind of moving from that sports team and that division up to hey, all these religions are food. It's a buffet. I can learn from, if I taught you, if I didn't tell you these teachings were from Buddha, you could say, and you didn't know any better, you would say, you know what, that sounds like Christ, or that sounds like Krishna or Muhammad. But once we categorize them into religion, there's this division. So the point of the R5 formula is to get everyone up to level 4 right away. We can elevate you right immediately up to level 4. And a great case study of this is the movie Case for Christ. This guy's an atheist, his wife's an atheist, and after their daughter almost chokes to death, he gets pushed. It's forced evolution. He gets pushed up to the 3rd level, and now he believes in God and he does all these incredible things. So
this is a big leap for somebody who was raised on, if you're not Catholic, you're going to hell.
And that's the sad part about religion, is it's this version that you either get it right or you're damned forever. And there's this immense amount of stress from that, because in the back of your mind, you're always saying, you know what, if I don't do this or whatever, I'm going to be doomed for eternity. And so I try to remove that stress. Once you understand everyone goes to heaven, it just opens up everything, and there's a clarity to what you're trying to achieve in life, which brings us to the purpose of life.
Wow. This is probably the deepest episode of the Backpack Show since Friday, at least.
Yes, I really love Nadia's stuff. That reinvention stuff it's really good stuff.
So where does all this play into finding success for yourself? Like, how do these rules help you to achieve your goals and to kind of materialize what you want in your life?
So when you understand the rules, so first step of the R5 formula is rules. Second step is understanding your level. Your level controls how much the universe and how much God gives you. So you understand the rules, you're playing by the rules. Now you know your level of development. So it's like this. We're all taking a trip from LA to New York. Some of us are taking the plane there. But some of us, like the atheist or the believer, they're taking a car there and they don't have a map yet. And so we give them a map to their destination. We show you, hey, your goal is this. I mean, most of us in life, purpose of life, we think, what are we doing? We want to go to heaven, but there's no map to get you there. So I put things into place where, hey, here's your current level of development and here's your end goal. And this is the shortest way to get there.
Sorry to Mike Wazowski you. I was reading Coach Woodard's comment. I think the believer is more like the first grader, and atheists could be much higher level. They haven't necessarily not considered religion. They've just chosen not to believe.
Yeah, I want to double down on Scott's thing, which is I would say that it's an interesting perspective to consider in an atheist and not an especially evolved person. I would say that they probably have a very different perspective, but not necessarily like when you said everybody's going to heaven, I'm not going. I have no intention of being there. I know where I'll be when I'm dead. But I'm curious to know how that fits your premise and how that fits kind of, what the R5 is. And like you said, it's a buffet. Maybe I just don't eat that. I'll leave that off to the side and put it in my napkin later, going to heaven.
You made a great point. So beliefs define your level of development. Atheist doesn't believe in God. Believer, 2nd grade, believes in a God, doesn't value him. 3rd grade, we find religion. 4th grade, we now understand the methods and the techniques to accelerate this process. And when you accelerate spiritually, you accelerate everything in your life, your wealth, your happiness, your success, your health, everything comes together. Now, the top 3 levels are levels of mastery. So really, we're just concerned with this bottom 4 level gap. And so the cool thing is we get to choose how fast or how slow we want to get there. God's like, hey, take the slow route. If you're going to New York from LA, go up to Canada for a while, go down to Mexico. It's your right to learn what you need to learn.
Very, very interesting to contemplate. Todd, hang on. We got to do some ads. So much to talk about. Oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about. All right, listen, if you want to debate all 5 levels, you have to make your own show. See Brogan.me/StreamYard. You can have all of the levels on your show. It's pretty easy to run a show with StreamYard. It lets you create any kind of conversation and experience you want. You can guide guests through it in the back. Everything works great.
You can be as wacky or as serious as you feel like.
That's right. Hey, we have a couple sponsors that give us platforms. So we have our podcast because of Castos. Castos.com is our podcasting platform. You can get us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify podcast, anywhere
So
that you listen.
If you're like on the massage table and you just want audio,
If you just whip off the massage table onto the floor like a fish, then you could just lay on the floor and just listen to the audio. Any domainers in the house? I know Kate's a domainer. cbrogan.me/online. You get 90% off if you want a .online domain. You could do on the floor .online. So we'll do some other ads later, but I just want to get through those.
Steve's going to Clubhouse. Steve, unbelievable. He's probably
outta
already
here.
over there right now.
Clubhouse.
Kate doesn't like to be graded.
Todd, you got a lot of pushback in this crowd, and I imagine that happens in a bunch of different places. Talk a little bit about that. Talk about people don't like prophets. A lot of prophets get stoned and killed. So what happens in the modern world with all the new stuff coming on? What happens with people saying, I don't know, this isn't my jam? Are you out there to preach it, or are you out there to help people catch it who want to explore your path?
It's a little of both. So when you understand the purpose of life, so there's 2 purposes of life. There's the universal is shared by everyone. Every human being has this shared purpose, and that's to complete these 7 levels. The second purpose is unique. It's individual. God lets us, do what we want to do. Each person is the best at something in their life. And so you try to, or at the R5 formula, we try to mesh these 2 together. And so for the atheist, that we have a meditation program, a system set up. Some of these techniques, so like mindfulness right now, helps you clear your mind and focus. Transcendental meditation does similar things. Now, one thing I want to point out, there's meditation, which is focused concentration on God. And then there's pre-meditation techniques. So most of the meditation that's practiced in America is really these pre-meditation techniques. They're beneficial, but they're not the one and only meditation that these yogis, universally, all religions, the most advanced teachers practice meditation. And so there's got to be something there. And these yogis say meditation is basically a bridge between earth and heaven, between you and God. And every time you meditate, you're making that connection. And that connection evolves the body and mind. So when you meditate, your body produces 5 peak performance neurochemicals, brain molecules. Your brain waves also change from beta to gamma. They've taken advanced meditators and they've permanently evolved their brain waves to this gamma level. So it's really cool stuff.
I just want to say to Chip Griffin, I was thinking the exact same thing. It's maybe the first time I've heard premeditation considered a good thing.
Wow.
No,
well, it's a great thing if you're a prosecutor.
There you go.
Then you go for the maximum sentence.
Todd, I heard you say something that, by the way, interesting that you all know who Teresa of Avila is. I guess I don't have her on my speed dial, but Elizabeth mentioned her, and then Dora was like, oh yeah, I love her. Todd, one of the things you said is, you could take some of the systems without having to go far too deep into the dogma per se. You could say, hey, you know what's good? Meditation. Every single one of these religions agrees that meditation is pretty good. Maybe you should give that a shot. Maybe you'll get some of these kind of molecules going and you'll see some benefit. Is that a palate cleansing way to get people to contemplate some of the R5 systems?
Well, because of the different levels, we structure things based on your levels. So right away, we teach you the universal rules, and then we teach you your level. And so I can say, okay, you're not after spiritual development. You're not after God. So you can use these certain pre-meditation techniques to help your mind, to help you focus. So I know you practice yoga, for example. The advanced saints and yogis developed yoga as a system to develop the body so then they could meditate for hours and days at a time. So in America, we confuse yoga. We think it's just exercises. Yoga is actually kind of like our meditation training. It's a complete system. And yoga actually means union with God. So it's a complete system of spiritual development.
Yeah, but that's like how KFC is Kentucky Fried Chicken. Nobody thinks about that anymore because like nobody wants to think about eating fried food. You got to take that out. So some people can still eat their tasty chicken.
And that's, we just give you the option. Look, wherever you're at, we can improve your current mental state, your happiness. We can definitely lower your stress level.
So what does this look like then for someone who's in the middle of, say, like a really competitive, demanding corporate environment or a global pandemic that's adding stress to their life? Like, how can they use your formula to achieve greater success?
And see, that's a great question. So in kind of my previous life, I was the sales manager and director of sales and marketing for the largest new home sales division in the country. So we were doing 3,000 homes a year at 36 subdivisions. And it was meditation that just, it calms your mind. It keeps you focused. It reduces this stress. And so when you understand the formula, the R5 formula, the rules, the levels, and how to deal with it you have all these different meditation techniques that you can plug and play. Today, I want to focus. We have a concentration technique. Tomorrow, I want to deal with my breath. We have a clarification technique or a breathing technique. We were talking about yoga earlier. We have a 4D body recharging technique, and all of these meditations and techniques I learned from these masters. I've just cherry picked the best of the best and put them into a system that you can plug and play as a stress out executive or someone working in this COVID environment, and you get to choose what you want to work on that day.
I have a question about the degrees. Your 4th degree, I saw something about 7th degree. People say this. Who's handing out these degrees? Like, where does that come from?
And that's the cool thing is, so people will say, well, okay, these seven levels and 7 degrees are synonymous.
Okay.
And so the Bible has, and the current religion in the format it's in doesn't teach this. And that's where I try to bring these universal teachings together. So the Bible has 7 levels of revelation. We call them churches. Each church is a grade level of development. And if you look at them, the first 6 churches are overcoming. They're learning lessons. You're learning. The 7th church, it says the door opens to heaven because you've completed your training. In Hinduism, same 7 levels in the Yoga Sutras. Buddhism has 7 levels of development. Now, they gear it more towards chakras. You have 7 chakras. Chakras, churches, levels. It's all the same stuff. But again, we're on sports teams right now. Our religion's better. This is better. My belief is better. I want to be atheism, and I don't believe in your God and what you're preaching. That's fine. But at least you understand your level. You can still, as an atheist, you can still apply these rules. It doesn't say, you have to believe in God for these rules to work. They work just like gravity. Now you're limited. So I did a study on billionaire atheists. In 2019, there were over 2,800 billionaires in the world. Less than 1% are atheists. Because the world, the system, these rules reward you for being in alignment with your purpose, completing the 7 levels. And again, God in the universe says, do it this year, do it next year, do it next lifetime. We don't really care. We know you're going to get there. Now, how much pain and suffering you want to experience depends on how fast you want to get there. The whole purpose of pain is to remind you of your purpose. If you're on track for your purpose, your pain is minimized.
Well, Alexander, I'm glad you've joined us today because I'm learning that I have no chance of success at this point because I gave up on Catholicism a long time ago.
I have a question about that study too.
Well,
you
1% chance of success.
You mentioned a very low level people who identified as atheist. I would wonder whether or not there's a few things at play there. One is that it doesn't benefit anyone to decry themselves as an atheist, because then they lose the backing politically and motivationally and financially of some of the largest cadres in the world. If you say you're anti-Christian, you've just isolated 40-ish% of, the humans, or 30% of the humans, or whatever the numbers are, right? So, you don't want to walk around as a billionaire going, who I hate? Christians. So I don't know that, I would sort of challenge that number. But then also, I guess I wonder, where when a billionaire is sitting there, does a billionaire go beyond meditation, which we can all accept as a real thing? I mean, Harvard did some incredibly good studies that showed what the absolute obvious chemical output of people like Dalai Lama are. Like when you hook wires to a monk, you could see it like a battery. That I'll stick with. I'll totally be in it. The question I have is, where's that jump? Like, where's that, like, I must go to your advanced Bible classes before I figure that out? You know what I mean? Like, why do I need to align to a religion in your perspective, or to the buffet, either way?
Well, and that gets back to the purpose of life. Why are we all here? And so the universal purpose is, we're in this school of learning, and it's about self-development. And so, and I would agree with you, not everyone's going to come out and say they're atheist or agnostic. And that gets back to playing on these sports teams. Once you commit to a sports team, there's a division. And so purpose, whether we like it or not, believe it in or not, the Bible says, and all these holy books and religion say, we're all created in the image of God. And that image is your soul. It's not this human body. And that soul is seeking to express its perfection again. To express its perfection, we have to evolve as a human being. So right now, there's an incredible amount of evolution that's taking place. People are being born without wisdom teeth. We're being born with extra arteries in our arms and extra bones in our feet and arms. And this evolution, what we're not recognizing, is more an evolution of the brain and of our spiritual development. They go hand in hand. As you evolve more, your soul is able to express itself more. And so you had talked about those Harvard studies, and you're exactly right. When you're in alignment, when you're in tune, your body is in tune. Everything comes into place. There's a clarity. And the universe rewards you for that clarity. And whether you believe it or not, like I said, the atheist can follow these rules. They can say, I don't believe in God, and that's fine. I'll teach you how to concentrate right. I'll teach you how to calibrate your mind, how you increase your brain power without believing in God. But there's limits. Each grade level has a limit on what you're going to be able to achieve.
Which gets me back to that, if only I believe in God, then I can have the treasures, which is pretty hard to bite into. So I'm going to 90-degree this just a tiny bit. On your site, you have advanced Bible lessons coming. What are advanced Bible lessons, Todd?
So that's kind of what we're talking about. If you go to a Christian church right now or a Catholic church, they're not going to teach you about the 7 levels. They're not going to teach you that you're guaranteed to go to heaven. Because the early Christian church, and this is from what I've seen, they believed in reincarnation. And around 500 AD, they took it out. And because they wanted to force your spiritual development. It's either believe in this or go to hell forever.
Yes, exactly. Now you understand.
And so now I take that out of the equation. If you don't have that stress, Kerry, that I'm going to go to hell, it makes life so much easier. You're just, you know what? This is kind of how I want to believe in God. This is where I want to go. And God lets you do what you want. But sometimes, like in 2020, the universe has forced evolution. The universe reminds us of why we're here.
A lot of people believe in some kind of, universal spirituality
Yes.
without believing in God specifically. Will that work or no? Because you could still be imbued with purpose and not believe in God so much specifically, much less organized religion, which, as you just pointed out, they'll be like, maybe not though. Like, let's just leave that part out from now on because it's inconvenient. It's a whole nother thing. So can you be spiritual and use this?
And that kind of gets back to religions. We're dividing based on these terms. If I say God, I know it turns people off right away. If I say spiritual, it's more palatable. If I say there's just this higher power, it makes things easy. The great thing about Buddhism, it's kind of like if you're a Christian,
Todd, what about people who think of your formula as another sports team? Like, are you building your own religion?
That's, I give you the right to choose. If you can take my program 30 days, get all the training basically for free. If you don't like it, I buy it back. It's 100% guaranteed. It's not going to work for everyone. We're at different levels. We're at different times in our life when we want to learn. So I just throw it out there. But back to your God question. So you can, I never, was, when I grew up, I always had a belief in God, but it was just like this, connection with him. And I just didn't narrow it down. I wasn't like I had to believe in this God. I just knew there was this higher energy that was out there. So however you want to define it, that's fine. It's when we restrict things, when we say, look, you got to be on the sports team. You got to believe in God. Call it spiritual. Call it.
Oh,
we lost you.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, Todd, you're muted.
Can't unmute your guest. Their mic isn't connected.
Oh, no, Todd. You are muted.
Well, God, I don't know what you're trying to tell me right now. Todd, it says I can't unmute you.
How's that?
There we go.
Woo! I hit my mic.
Kate Colgan, you
with the
surely will.
hands.
Well, have to. Todd, hang tight 1 second. We got to do a couple more ads. And it was Dora realized, hey, wait a minute. Where's your sausage people? We had to split the ads up a little. They're here. Don't worry. Send an email, Kerry@chrisbrogan.com. We are
placed
absolutely.
another order for sausage last night.
Yep, we
To
said
the
sausage.
extent that I am part of any organized religion, it would be Johnsonville sausage.
Sausage based.
Yeah.
Kerry@chrisbrogan.com. Authors, you want to get a good website to handle your books, then go to this delightful website, pub-site.com.
It's
There's a
super
real
easy
lot.
to use. And it's got pre-built all the things you need as an author to have the perfect website to promote you, your books, your appearances, when those are allowed again, all sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
Go get
there
some.
you go. Get some, pub-site.com. Something. All right, let's grab Todd. Okay, Todd. So before God took your microphone offline, warm us back up. All right, well, here, I have a question that I don't know that I heard the answer to, or I wasn't being a good enough listener, so I will take the blame. What got you there? No kid choked in your house. What got you to go from I'm selling real estate to I'm selling spiritual teachings? What got you there?
Well, it's kind of like we talked about when we first started today, my early history, almost dying, my brother dying, my mom drowning. And so instead of like hating this God and being bitter, I just wanted to understand the rules. And so I've been constantly testing and watching and observing and modeling people who are successful. And the people I've observed that are successful have a religion. Whether it's Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, whatever it is, they believed in this higher power and these rules and this God. And so I just kind of tested. And when I first met these yogis, I'm like, these guys are full of crap. And the one teacher was like, look, here's the lessons. We want you to challenge them. Prove they're wrong. And so for 30 years, I've been trying to prove them wrong, and I've been unsuccessful. So what got me there is just when there's these patterns of success that these spiritual teachers are trying to give us. And at these lower levels, we just, there's no bridge. So in the book, Not Taught by Keenan, you called him a bridger. And so I try to be a bridger. And it's all about using the right tools. So Kerry would carry around a door handle. I got a doorknob on the shelf for you there.
Do.
So she carried a knob in her purse for her friend's apartment. So it's about having the right tools to use. And Chris, you use a great thing. When you're teaching businesses not to use their data and their stats in storytelling, instead of carrying that water with a pencil, you teach them how to use a cup, a bucket. And it's just about using the right tools when you need to use them. And because of these, if you understand your level, you can pick what you want to learn from this system. And it's not forced. It's like, here it is. And then I just help you along. You say, Todd, I'm ready for this next level or these next teachings. Okay, here you go.
Todd, did you watch the 2012 documentary Kumari by any chance?
I have not seen that.
Oh, I have a treat for you, baby. It's right on Amazon Prime. You can get it for whatever it is, $3 or $4. Kumari is, this guy's name is Vikram Gandhi. He's a New Yorker. And he decided to go back to India, where he's born and, his people are from. And he decided to check out guru culture because he just kind of kept finding it interesting that there were so many white people wandering around with these gurus from India. And he just had to wonder, like, how legit are these people? And he found himself a little bit unhappy with the state of gurus in that space, as you can imagine, because in every, there's always a charlatan. So the interesting piece of this documentary is one of my favorites in the world. The interesting piece of the documentary is that Vikram dresses himself as a guru, calls himself Kumari, and then travels the U.S. basically talking to people about things he imagines yogis say. But what he does is really clever. He sneaks into the whole message the whole time. He keeps saying, you are the guru that you seek. You are the salvation. You don't need me. I'm fake. He says to rooms full of people, I'm a total faker. And they're all like, oh, I get it. It's this religious thing that means that, like, we're all fakers, aren't we? And he's legitimately saying, no, I'm fake. But when you get to the end of it all, his message matters. I mean, he upset a few people because they really felt like they were with a spiritual trainer. But if you get it, like, it's what you're saying too. This bridging concept is that, you can get there on your own. You can find your way there just like you did. And you found some feelings in that. So it's interesting just to see where you came from it. When people go to your YouTube channel, here's a big left turn. When people go to your YouTube channel, do you think that that gives them even more to chew on to understand what we're about here and what you're working on?
Yes, and now we'll back up to Kumari, and then we'll get to your YouTube.
Perfect.
Question. So,
hello, this is Todd Denen. And
what's cool about the Kumari example is it shows when it came to America, people are spiritually thirsty. We all, whether we realize it or not, it's in our DNA. It's our soul. Our soul is just dying to get out, to express its perfection, its divinity. And so we have this spiritual thirst. And so the cool thing is, at the 4th level of human development, where we have this buffet, the masters teach us, you don't have to go to a church. You don't have to go outside. Everything is within. Meditation is within. You become the master of yourself. And that's what these pre-meditation techniques and meditation teach you. They basically say, you're the church and you're the minister of your own church. And these are the best methods to improve yourself, to make that connection. And so the YouTube channel kind of fills in. You're going to see it loaded with a bunch of videos on meditation. If people understood the power, supreme power, meditation is the one universal skill that people are required to master in order to complete the 7 levels.
There's so much to absorb. So you got to go to youtube.com/Denen3 to check that out. And you'll get a little bit more out of that as well, and get a little bit more of Todd's secrets and his healing meditations and all that. And then also, don't forget that you're going to want to go to, let me back up 5 buttons. I thought it was right there. r5formula.com/backpack. That was so sloppy. r5formula.com/backpack to get that. There's so much to pick up on all this. All right, we have a couple more things we got to do.
Oh, and here's our person of the day. Kaboom!
Well, you know what? I didn't know anything about this spiritualist Teresa of Avila, so I'll give Elizabeth the person of the day because she had 7 mystical levels as well. This number 7, Todd. I think it's in there. It's kind of spiritual. Now we've come to that part of the show where we ask the same question to every guest we've ever had, which is what goes in your backpack? You can add one physical or metaphorical thing. You can add, something to eat, like a delicious banana, or you can add something metaphysical or metaphorical. Jeez Louise, how am I feeling?
Like kindness.
Like kindness. Todd Denen, what goes in your backpack?
Well, obviously, it's to me, and it's the R5 formula, or it's meditation, and having a complete meditation system. Because with a meditation system, the right meditation system, you can pick and choose what you want to improve that day. And with the R5 formula, it structures everything for you on your journey.
That is a very interesting thing to throw in there. And I'm going to pretend I was surprised that was the answer. But I'm not. I knew
Throw an
that's where you were going.
atheist in your backpack for good measure.
Good measure. Well, Kate, I'm not throwing you anywhere. Get that little broken limb handled there.
Right.
I'm just imagining her massage therapist at the very end of that massage. You're like, okay, you're good to go.
I think they're probably like, could you maybe stop watching TV? I feel like it's distracting. Like while they're trying to work on her.
Kate gets excited. Well, Todd Denen, I know one person who would have loved to heard a lot more of what you had to say, and that's my grandmother. She was a very, very devout, very old school French Catholic. And so we got a lot of lessons. And I would say that probably the biggest piece of advice she gave me when it came to religion was one that I still apply to this day.